Hello everyone, welcome to Any Pluto. Let's start the video. In the anime, a horrendous occasion called Space Statements shook the wolf, causing far and wide demolition, killing north of 150 million individuals in the years that followed. There were various space shakes, yet none as pulverizing as the first, and following 30 years of the primary space shooter in a space that was remade after the pulverization, a kid named Shido lives with his sister Kotoi. After going through the standard morning schedule, they plan to go to class, yet prior to leaving, Kotori makes Shiro vow to meet her at her number one eateries after school for lunch. She joined the homeroom while conversing with his companion and colleague this evening. She understands that one of the most famous young ladies at school, named Origami, is by all accounts inspired by him, yet as she never talks, he simply continues to consider how she knows him. When classes end, by the day's end, a caution is set off and a quake is going to happen. The city occupants are requested to go to the assigned sanctuaries. Recollecting his commitment he made with Kotoi, Chito checks her area on his wireless and understands she's at the eatery. In spite of knowing the peril of leaving the sanctuary, he courageously runs towards her area when unexpectedly, on the manner in which a little seismic tremor happens at the spot is an albeit sound. Sheila was stunned to see a young lady in odd shield employing an enormous blade. She thinks Shio is there to go after her, yet she rapidly makes sense of that he's attempting to track down his sister and doesn't who she is before she can answer. A gathering of young ladies with unique flying suits went after the young lady, and she fights back with her sword when Shadow understands that one of the young ladies who just went after is his cohort. Origami, associated with the conflict, Shiro is trapped in the crossfire and is taken out after again in his detects. You really want to enter a grown-up lady who is really focusing on him. She makes sense of that they are presently on board a boat and that he was taken there while he was oblivious. Recall when he was attempting to find his sister. Shigo frenzies, yet rapidly quiets down when he figures out that the boat's commando is his own sister. She, in addition to the fact that completely safe, but on the other hand was in charge of a gathering called Ratatoska. Kotori gives him an exceptionally speedy and harsh clarification, uncovering that the young lady he saw after the seismic tremor is a soul and that they are answerable for making the space statements when they show up on the planet, and as a result of this the military shaped an extraordinary unit to eradicate them, which are the young ladies in the flying suits that he had seen previously, and that she needs to determine the issue in a tranquil manner. So Sheila questions your sister, inquiring as to why she's here, assuming he saw her telephone signal coming from the cafe and that in view of this he ran into potential harm. Culture shows that the justification for this is on the grounds that they are floating over the city on a flying boat equipped for becoming imperceptible to get ready Shiro for his most memorable mission. Social gives him an extraordinary dating game that he should dominate rapidly and says that his central goal is to date the spirits and make them go gaga for him in this world, trying to convince them. Recalling how miserable the young lady he saw before was, she however consents to take on the mission back at school. Origami cautions Shigo to avoid the spirits as they are exceptionally hazardous and were answerable for the demise of his folks, and that is the reason she's battling against them. Finishing up his preparation in the game, Shiro is currently prepared to propose the spirits, yet before Steers and Maina need to test him, all things considered, and have him hit on his educator. He praises his educator, saying how delightful she is and that he needs to wed her. His instructor is very glad to at long last have the option to get hitched, yet having finished his objective, Shadow rapidly takes off and winds up catching Origami, who turns into his next target. He can advance a ton, causing her to consent to try and go out with him, yet while he is imagining that she concurred too quick, another alert goes off and a space tremor is going to raise a ruckus around town, around the school, so everybody is emptied. Noticing that a similar young lady with the sword from before seems not entirely set in stone, to attempt to converse with her, while the military is likewise activated to kill her, utilizing power subsequent to connecting with her. Shido is being educated about what he ought to say to organize a date with the young lady. The direction is getting helps from the beginning, yet his own impulses are superior to the expert exhortation he is getting, and because of his fair and direct methodology he can contact her, and she chooses to let her watchman down. Realizing that she doesn't have a name, Sheila gives her the name of Taka. She is glad to have a name, yet as of now they are interfered with by similar strategic power of young ladies with extraordinary suits from before who acted the hero him, yet in any case Shido won't walk out on Tiger, who utilizes her ability to safeguard them, the two invest some energy talking, and when Tiger's temperament is by all accounts sufficient, Shiro welcomes her to a date, yet Frock doesn't have any idea what her date is, and before Shio can make sense of, Origami sees them, and in the middle between them, feeling that she don't require assist, Origami and Robe with battling for some time before Taka vanishes, abandoning Shido without a response. After the fight, he gets back to the school, remains to see the results of all that has occurred, in a shock to find Taka she was sitting tight for him so Shiro can show her what a date is. Nevertheless, he thinks about how she showed up in this world without setting off the caution or causing a spatial tremor, so she changes her peculiar dress to match the school uniform, and the two go out together, strolling through the city. Tukas is by all accounts more keen on all the flavorful food she finds in different slows down. It just so happens the existence where she came from is vacant, dull, and she generally dozed when she resided there, so she never encountered these things prior to. During the date, the two are seen by Origami, who understands that Frock is a similar soul young lady she battled before. Regardless of her different dress and the shortfall of a spatial tremor upon her appearance, she keeps on following them covertly. Several has driven through different attractions arranged for them by Kotori to further develop Toka's mindset. Every one of the various food sources and attractions truly energize her, and Toko is having loads of fun. With nightfall, the date reaches a conclusion, and Tiger thanks Shio for showing her something so brilliant and having the option to see every one of the lovely things in this world. She contemplates whether it would be better there was no such thing as in the event that her so as not to seriously endanger this world, but rather Shiro rapidly consoles her maxim that he will acknowledge her no matter what, this leaving her very blissful. Yet the delicate second is intruded on by Origami, who got the request to go after Robe while her gatekeeper is down. She don't feels that something is off base and pushes Toko far removed without a second to spare, making the shot hit him and killing him on the spot. Taka feels as though her cheerful and warm feelings that she was feeling were torn from her chest. This leaves her in a free for all as she brings her powers, delivering every one of them and going towards Origami, who feels unfit to fight back because of the injury she endured by shooting Shio. Yet shockingly, she composed, recuperates, and stands up when Tako is going to convey a last catastrophe for Origami. Shiro tumbles from the sky, moving toward Taka, who after seeing him is feeling better to be well. Frock fails to remember Origami and rushes to embrace Shiloh anyway. Her weapon is overburdened and turning out to be perilously wild when it was going to detonate. She, however, gives her a kiss, and it winds up incapacitating her destructive weapon and fixing the vast majority of her powers. Jace pass and Robe join Shiro at school, securing herself as a student from another school. Origami feels awkward with Frock's presence. She is sorry for how she treated Shido, yet he doesn't mind saying that all is great. Returning home, she continuously going to clean up, yet winds up finding Robe, who throws him out. He goes to scrutinize his sister about what's going on. Then Koto makes sense of that. Taka will remain with him until this makes the suitable establishments for spirits, and after all that he needs to take on the obligation and seal their powers with that kiss. She don't asks why he can follow through with something like this, yet neither Mentor or Elena have a solution for it. Yet what she cannot deny is that Social is additionally involving this as an opportunity to draw even nearer to him and Taka at school, while Sheila, Chaka, and Origami are sending off one more spatial tremor. Caution is enacted since Taka has her abilities fixed. She is shipped off a sanctuary while Shiro and Origami head to the flying boat. They find the soul liable for the new spatial quake, and Shiro perceives her as the young lady he met at a safe haven. The extraordinary unit goes after the young lady who wasn't in any event attempting to guard herself. She was simply frantically attempting to escape, not entirely set in stone to save her. Subsequent to finding her, he finds her concealing in a vacant structure. The blue-haired young lady's soul is exceptionally timid and imparts to her sock mannequin, presenting herself as Yashinin. While Shido was attempting to inspire her to consent to go out with him, Joker ends up being concerned and escapes from the safe house. To find him, she shows up with perfect timing to see the blue-haired young lady soul stagger and fall onto Schwa, giving him an unplanned kiss. Yet this demonstrates him up to be sufficient to deliver her power, so she just lashes out. Joker starts to imagine that Shiro has treated her for another young lady, leaving Taka extremely irritated, and she takes for herself Yorkman's sock mannequin, which winds up going off the deep end, conjuring a strong beast to get away, albeit the military are holding up outside attempting to get her. She figures out how to escape, yet in the process her sock mannequin falls yet is found by Origami. Taka winds up with Vayner, who is offering regarding pretty much every one of the new sentiments she is currently feeling because of what happened. She is stressed that Xiao values one more young lady more than her. In the meantime, Schwa ends up with the sole young lady. She uncovers that she is Yoshino, and she is as of now looking for Yoshinon, which is her mannequin, and afterward he offers to help her, and in the wake of looking through in every one of the parts they can't find it. Seeing that Yoshino is ravenous, Shiro takes her to his home and feeds her. During this time they get to know one another more, and Shiro finds how kind and cherishing she is. He says he will deal with her and be a legend and help her find Yashinam. Equity is going to kiss her and seal her powers. Took her hinders and goes into the room, which drives Yoshino and Mei to run off while Frock secures herself in her room and won't converse with Shiro. Clitory contacts Xiao and lets him know that the surveillance camera saw Origami getting the mannequin from the combat zone, so Sheila goes to her condo to recover the mannequin. He rings the doorbell and Origami seems inviting him in a colorful uniform. In her room she begins to take extremely striking actions to attempt to lure him. While she's attempting to do this, Shiro begins to attempt to change her perspective about spirits by telling her how kind and cordial Toko and Yoshino are. He can't persuade her yet before they can proceed with their discussion. She is called right into it, which permits Shadow to recover Yashinon as Yoshino is being sought after by the unique units. She is cornered by the military, so she calls forward her strong beast in a frantic endeavor to get by. After seeing Shadow she stops, yet Origami's assault sets off the staggering counter-assault of the animal that is going to hit him. Taka, who was stressed over him, shows up on the scene and to some degree delivers her power, safeguarding him with a huge brilliant safeguard. Taka joins Shadow and apologizes for how she acted before. Shadow says that Toko is critical to him, and after hearing this she can assemble significantly a greater amount of her powers. As the tactical assault Yoshino, she causes the animal to gather a snowstorm, keeping them from drawing near. Taka occupies the tactical, giving Xiao an opening, and afterward Kotori uncovers that she has regenerative abilities. Xiao propels certainly in his mending power, crossing the snowstorm, disregarding every one of the excruciating wounds he is enduring. En route he arrives at the middle, finds Yoshino, and removes her from her cautious state. He returns the Yashinon mannequin to her, which encourages her, and as a thank you she gives him a kiss, consequently fixing her powers. Thanks for watching my video. Please like and subscribe to Any Pluto.